everyone, a big warm welcome to you, and I'd like to introduce you to this episode of the 2-week Roundup, coming to you from, yes, it's coming to you from Italy. Yes, Italy, a country of great culture. The capital is Rome. Other cities of note are Florence, Venice, is like the sunken city of canals and stink. No, that's a bit cruel. It's Venice of culture, and Milan, the fashion capital, I reckon, of the world. Yes. Now, Italy borders France, Switzerland, Austria and Slovenia, but I'm sure you geography experts already know that. So we're kicking off from the wonderful Sistine Chapel, which was opened in 1483. Serves nowadays as a sort of a museum. It's a Renaissance architecture, lovely painting. I didn't do it myself really. If you wanted your house decorated like this nowadays, it probably costs a lot more than £27. Yes, it's a part of a chapel in Vatican City, and I think the Pope lives round about here, so he might pop in. Hi, Pope. No, that wasn't him. That was someone from Pope Idol. Excellent. So, yeah, so we're going to have a look at the top 6 videos we looked at this time round. But before we come to that amazing top 6, we're going to bring you, as we always do, well I do, well someone does, the Pinball Arcade tables we looked at this time round. We look at one a week, so 2 in a 2-week thing. I'm sure you didn't need me to calculate 1 and 1 for you. But we're on season 3 of the Pinball Arcade, and we better hurry up because I'm on a backdrop here of Mount Vesuvius. It's 1.281 metres high, and it's situated in the Gulf of Naples, quite close to the city of Naples. The last eruption was 1944, so that means we're probably due another one, aren't we, at some stage, but hopefully not today. So the Pinball Arcade then by Farsight Studios. The first table we looked at was the first in the series. It's Fishtails, yeah! Now if you're going to make a pinball table, you've got so many different themes you can choose. There's science fiction and space, which is science fiction again, and racing, and lots of great themes. And then there's fishing. What's going on here? Well, you would have thought this is a dumbass theme to select for a pinball table, but it works quite well. It's based around catching as many fish as you can by getting the ball up certain ramps at certain times, and also it's the lie detector thing where you have to try and lie how big the fish you caught was, just like normal fishing then. A lot of good sounds on this, it holds together quite well. I wasn't expecting it to be that good because I didn't have too much knowledge of this sort of pinball table before I played this ported version, or the digital version, but I was quite surprised. It's quite a nice touch and gets season 3 off to a good start. Farsight Studios are making it a great attempt at recreating these tables. I've been playing them on the PlayStation 3, eventually at some point, although I've been saying this for months, I'll get a PlayStation 4. I'm not sure I'll upgrade the tables because I think the shadowing might be a bit better, but that's about it. The second table we looked at in season 3 it's a piratey theme, it's a Black Rose. Now this is also another great table, although I haven't played it too much and the review shows. There's a lot to do and lot to be mastered, but what makes this game unique is this cannon right down the bottom, and every so often you get to fire that to try and sink ships. It's good, and the speech is really good in a piratey sort of way. Aye, laddie. And I did my terrible pirate voice all the way through, so sorry about that. But if you got Pinball Arcade up to season 2 and you was thinking about getting season 3, I would upgrade straight away because it's got off to a wonderful start. As I say, I don't know too much about the other tables in the series, and we'll come to them week by week, but I've liked it so far. Great stuff there. These tables are always great fun. You have the Zen Pinball 2 tables, which I haven't reviewed for a while, which are fancy tables, and these real life ones in the Pinball Arcade. Sometimes there's much debate what's best, Zen Pinball 2 or Pinball Arcade, and I like them both, just for different reasons really. So there you go, so that was Fishtails and a Black Rose. It's the Colosseum. I'm sure you recognised it. It's in Rome. We're zipping around the country. Built in, well, opened in 80 AD, so quite recently. Yeah, made of concrete and sand, and it's the largest amphitheatre ever built. Been partially ruined over time, as I think you'll notice here, by earthquakes and stone robbers. Why would anyone rob stone? That seems like a dangerous profession. Don't know, something for you to get into if you're short of money. Go out and rob some stones. Anyway, I'm jibber-jabbering again. Let's get on with the whole point of the video, the top 6. So we'll go from 6 to 4 first of all. In 6th place this time was Hot Rod on the ZX Spectrum, published by Activision in 1990 and based on the arcade game by Sega. I previously reviewed this game on the Commodore Amiga quite some time ago and wasn't very impressed. The Spectrum version, it has that major flaw again that some Spectrum racers do have, and that is that every car looks identical. The car you control is identical to the two computer opponents there, and you're all the same colour. The controls aren't the best, so that means it's essential that you know which car's yours, and you can just get mixed up really quickly. Throughout this review, I often thought I was driving a different car when the cars overlap, especially crashed in. And if you fall behind, the system pulls you onto the screen. Watch the review, it's probably clearer to see there. And you lose a bit of gas, which if gas goes to 0, that's it. And it's not really that much fun at all. The sound really screeches your eardrums, and if you played it for any length of time, I'm sure you'll go deaf because your eardrums will explode and bleed. Some of the graphics is good on some of the courses, but it's a missed opportunity. Could have been a bit better. Now, I know on Spectrums they're a bit limited with the memory, so they're always up against it, the coders back in the day. But, you know, if all the cars are in the same colour, at least make the player's car look different. Design it different. Make it look different. Give it a big, I don't know, white bit in the middle or something. But it just doesn't work for me, and it's not a very enjoyable game. Hot Rod by Activision, a very worthy 6th place. Didn't take much thinking about this time. As soon as I played it, I thought, this is probably going to finish in 6th place. In 5th place, a bit of a surprise one. I've got no nostalgia for this one, so it's probably why. Deadball Zone by GT Interactive in 1998. If you watch this review, you'll quite quickly see it's heavily influenced by the fantastic game on the Amiga, Speedball 2 Brutal Deluxe. It's more technical than that, but it isn't as fun to play. No doubt if you put in hours and hours and practice, you might get something out of it, but I was less than impressed. It gives you a 3D arena, it's futuristic, and you have to crunch your opponents in team-based, league-based championships and hit the ball into the goal. It's quite good technically, I would say. The music is okay, but I keep thinking about, whenever I play it, I keep thinking about Speedball 2. That was instant pick up and play. It did have a learning curve, but even as a beginner, you could get straight into it and gradually learn your craft. Something seems a bit missing from this Deadball Zone. Got a lot of teams, although they don't seem that exciting really. So in 5th place, Deadball Zone by GT Interactive in 1998. And in 3rd place as well, now I have to say, when I review these games, they don't tend to be a complete walkthrough. They don't tend to be technical genius. And if there's bits in the game I don't get, or there's a bit that's not working, I will say it in the video, and quite often I'll get a comment saying I haven't done particular stuff, and I've actually already said that in the video, and it's not really worth me answering the comment because you know, it's just going to go to an argument of something I've already said. Anyway, that said, in fourth place this time was CYBERNOID 2, The Revenge by Houston Consultants in 1988. Fantastic graphically, although it is rather similar to the original. You control a spaceship going from screen to screen, and it is puzzle based. Now, you can change your weapons by selecting 1 to 7 on the keyboard, but for whatever reason during this review, which I did say, pressing the buttons and the weapons were not changing. So my main way is to have a bit of a laugh of it in the review and see as many screens as possible. So I just bowl through with like a ball in a china shop, really, with sort of like a cheat mode on. But that didn't stop a few comments there. But anyway, what can we say? It's a good game, but I personally think it's a bit too difficult, and that's why I penalise it a little bit and put it in fourth place. Mainly because those sort of games I'm not very good at anyway. A lot of you I think might have put it in first or second place, but although it's a technical marvel, on a playability sense, I didn't like it. I didn't have the patience with it. So, in summary then, in sixth place was Hot Rod by Activision in 1990. Fifth place, Deadball Zone, GT Interactive, 98. And in fourth place, CYBERNOID 2, The Revenge by Houston Consultants in 1988. And just to confirm, I like all comments really, so even if I say it in the video, I don't mind you commenting whatever you want. This isn't a dictatorship, it's a land of free speech, so continue your comments. Anyway, that's 6 to 4th. Oh, you're back, are you? Okay, well, I'll cancel my tea break then, and we'll better do the top 3 from this last 2 weeks extravaganza, if that's not too much a bigger word. Yes, anyway, in third place this time, actually, before I say that, I better say where I am, haven't I? We're yeah, there we go. There, this is the Tower of Pisa. In Pisa, in Italy. Yes, it's 7 floors, and it's been described in some tour guides as a bit wonky. On the high side, it's 57 metres, and the construction was completed in 1372. If you was at the grand opening, then you must be quite old. Right, I got that's that sorted out. Right, in third place then. This time round, it's a game that I originally played on the Commodore Amiga in the 90s. This is a conversion as such. It's on the Game Boy Advance. It's James Pond, codename ROBOCOD, by Play It and Valcon in 2005. It plays quite good, offers nothing new over the original, but it's nice to have James Pond ROBOCOD on the go, I'd imagine. Some people complain that the levels are too big with too much space in it, but I get a bit of a nostalgia feeling. Whenever I get a nostalgia feeling, I tend to mark games up a little bit, even if they're not that good in the first place. It's a sequel to James Pond, which I didn't think come out on the Game Boy Advance, just a sequel made it. Correct me if I'm wrong. But you're trying to rescue elves from Santa's grotto by collecting, well, the elves basically, and then getting to the end each time. You start off outside of a castle, and by going in each door you complete different worlds and different levels. James Pond has got an extendable body in this time, i.e. the RoboCop stretchy thing, and it's quite good fun. The music is quite nauseous after a while, but it's not a badly put together game, so it's in third place. In a second place this time, getting to the meat of the sandwich, it is Sensible Golf by Virgin on 1995 on the good old Commodore Amiga. Now, I didn't play this game back in the day, but playing it still gives me a nostalgic feel because the graphics are sort of like similar. It uses the Canon Fodder engine, and it doesn't aim to be a realistic golf simulation like PGA Tour or Microsoft's Golf, which are both brilliant. I think when it came out, people were expecting something as good as Sensible Soccer, and it isn't as good as Sensible Soccer really when you're looking for simulations, but I don't think it pretends to be. It might have been a little bit rushed when this came out, developed by a Sensible software, but if you take it for what it is quite good. It's an arcadey feel golf game, doesn't take itself too seriously, armed with lots and lots of different courses, which don't look like real courses to be honest with you. There's water in very odd places. You can do championship modes, practice and a whole heap of things. It'll keep you going for quite a while, but it's the sort of game, as I mentioned in the review, that you'd get home after a few drinks with your mates, crowd round the screen and have a laugh with this one. The control mechanism takes a little bit of getting used to first of all, but not too long. Before you know it, you'll be hitting the ball all over the place, or like me, slicing it into the water and destroying the woods really. That's not a Tiger Woods pun. So sensible golf, well worth checking out, but as I say, don't expect a realistic golf sim by any means. So what does that leave left over? Well, you know, I always say this, that when you watch all the videos, or if you watch some, you have your favourite system, your Spectrum, your Amiga, or your PlayStation, whatever it had when you was growing up. So you might have these in a different order, but this time round it looks like 2 Amiga games are coming first and second, so they're first on the grid really. And first place was Toyota Celica GT Rally by Gremlin in 1990, the makers that were to give us the Lotus Esprit Challenge Championship series. But this is nothing like those. It does aim to be a sim, but it's not really. I can best describe it as test drive meets hard driving really. You go over a number of stages. There's England, Mexico and Finland and another one I can't quite remember, but it's over 30 stages and it feels quite nice to play this one. Doesn't feel realistic in any way, but for 1990 you can get away with it. Sometimes just referred to as Celica GT Rally, sometimes Toyota Celica GT Rally, so go figure. Sponsored by Toyota, I guess. Played this quite well, although in the review there was a weather stage of rain. There's snow later in Finland where you're supposed to use the windscreen wipers to see where you're going. I couldn't work out how to operate the windscreen wipers. It was at spacebar, I was pressing all keys and couldn't. So on those sort of stages I was driving pretty much blind. But it's the first game I think that mixes sprites with actual polygon graphics, and they sort of work but sort of don't, but it gives it a nice unique feel to it. You race other cars for time but not directly on the track, and overall I think this is a good game looking back there. Toyota Celica GT Rally. So in summary then, this time round the top 3 that make it is third place James Pond ROBOCOD on the Game Boy Advance in 2005. In second place, the arcadey Sensible Golf by Virgin in 1995 on the Commodore Amiga. And a well-deserved first place again on the Amiga is Toyota Celica GT Rally by Gremlin in 1990. And there we have it. I hope you like seeing the roundup this time, and also a few facts about Italy, which you might recall or remember a few of these facts which turn up in a quiz that might save your life one day. I can't imagine how, but we're racking up the countries this time. I don't know where we're going to go to next. So yes, Italy, a population of 60 million. If all 60 million watch this video, then it might eventually start going somewhere. So thanks again. Please remember to rate, comment and subscribe. I know some of you just watch Spectrum videos, and if I don't put a Spectrum video up for a while you might unsubscribe and vice versa on Amiga, but I like to keep I've sort of like a few systems in the go there. We sort of like do one a week or so. Anyway, I'm rambling again. I'm sure you've got much better things to do. So thanks for watching. Like what you're doing. Don't know why I said that. I don't know what you're doing. You could be eating a choc ice or killing a goat. So I probably like what you're doing. Yeah, I better end this now, better not I? Okay, thank you. And until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.